Hey, this is Mark Williams of Swine Barbecue. Today we're going to cook up some pork tenderloin biscuits. Now we're going to top these biscuits with a little bit of Brie cheese and an apple and onion jam. This entire recipe is going to be cooked on the Grilla Grills Silverbac. It's going to make for a great meal this fall, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is get our apple and onion jam mixed up so we can get it on the pit. This is going to take longer than anything else just to get these onions cooked down, so we're going to get it on the pit first. So what I have is 2 onions in a little small Dutch oven. Then I have 1 thing of apple pie filling. This was a 22-ounce can. It's roughly about 2 cups. So we're just going to get this poured right on top of these onions. Now you can cook your onions down, make your own apple pie filling, but this is too easy not to use. And then all we're going to do, put 2 pads of butter in here just to help them onions cook down and add a little bit more savory flavor. And this is ready to get on the pit. So I'm gonna get the lid placed on this, and then we're going to the Grilla Grill running at 400 degrees. This should take these onions about an hour to cook down, get good and tender, and that's gonna make our apple jam to top these biscuits. Now it's time to get some seasoning on these pork tenderloins. Now today we're using our Mississippi grit and the Killer Hogs Hot Rub. I'm not gonna do any trimming. There's a little bit of silver skin on here, but I found sometimes trying to get that off, you cause more harm than good, so we're just gonna leave it on there and let it cook. So I got our Mississippi grit. We're just going to do a medium coat, just to add a little salt, good savory flavor, because we're going to have a lot of sweet with these apples and onions, and this is going to offset that sweet really well. It's hard to beat a good pork tenderloin. They're so tender, pack a ton of flavor, and if you pull them off at that 140, 145, it's an excellent bite. Then we're going to come back with the Killer Hogs Hot. This is going to bring a little bit of heat and give us a good color on these pork tenderloins. Now we're cooking these pork tenderloins today at 400 degrees. Going for more of a grilled flavor, get a little color on the outside. We'll let these sit here for just a few minutes and they're gonna go on the pit as well. So we're gonna get these pork tenderloins on the pit. Like I say, it's running 400 degrees. Get them placed right here. Then I have a ThermalWorks dot. I'm gonna just go directly in the end. As deep as I can right there. That'll give us a good enough reading. We should be reading right here in this thick part. We'll keep an eye on them, flip them every few minutes, get a good color, good bark built on the outside. Shouldn't take them long. So these pork tenderloins have been on for about 10 or 15 minutes. We're just gonna roll them around, get some color on the other side. Just like you see there. Got a good color on them. We're sitting right at 100, 105 degrees. Shouldn't be too much longer. We're just gonna keep an eye on them internals. So these pork tenderloins reach 140 internal. They're going to carry over to 145, so we're going to go ahead and get them off. So we're going to let these pork tenderloins rest. I'm going to get them covered in foil, place them over on the side of the grill. That way they stay plenty of warm. That'll give us plenty of time to get these biscuits cooked up and finish our onion and apple jam. Now it's time to bake these biscuits. Now I'm going to cook these in a cast iron skillet. You can see here, all we have to do is take a little bit of this butter I melted. We're going to brush it in the bottom, just add a little oil. This skillet here is pretty well seasoned. A little bit of butter never hurt anyone. And then start stacking these biscuits. Now I'm using frozen biscuits. I know it ought to be a sin, but it's a lot easier than having to make homemade biscuits, and these actually turn out pretty good. These are Mary B's, so we're gonna get them here. You wanna stack them in here pretty tight. The tighter you have them, the higher they'll rise, which is what we want. I'll put one in the center, and now I did cut one in half. This is only to fill this void right here, just so these biscuits will rise a little bit better. So the pit's still running 400 degrees. We're gonna get these placed in here. While we're in here, I'm gonna look at our onion and apple jam. I have stirred it a few times. You can tell the onions are starting to cook down. It smells really good. Let's get these stirred around and let that keep cooking. So these biscuits have been on the pit for about 20 minutes. They're starting to get a little color on them. We're gonna go ahead and brush them with this butter. That'll help bring a little bit more color to them. And then while we're in here, we're gonna go ahead and get our onions up. That way we can get over here on the cutting board and get them incorporated a little bit more. So we took our onion and apple jam off the pit, and as you can tell, those onions have cooked down, the apples have cooked down. We're gonna add just a little bit of cayenne pepper, just to add some flavor to this. And then just a pinch of salt. Use a wooden spoon and get this mixed all up. It's gonna have a little texture to it, but still be kind of saucy. The onions held up well. It smells great. I can't wait to try this on the biscuit. So total cook time of these biscuits were about 25 minutes. They got a pretty golden brown color, cooked through and through. That's a good looking biscuit right there. So now that everything's done, it's time to build these biscuits. Now this may screw up on me, but what we're gonna do is flip that over just like that. Get all those biscuits out. Let them cool for just a minute. We're gonna come in and we're gonna half them and we're gonna start building these biscuits. So the next thing is get this pork tenderloin cut up. All I'm gonna do is just get them sliced up kind of thin. And you can tell cooking that pork to about 140, it is just packed full of moisture. Super tender, great color. I'm excited to give these a try. So now it's time to build these biscuits. First thing we're gonna do, add a little bit of this mustard right on the bottom half of this biscuit. We'll brush it in once we get them all a little bit on there. That'll add just a little tangy flavor, just to offset some of the sweet. And then we're gonna start laying on this pork. Of course, these little pork medallions are the perfect size for these biscuits. And now I'm gonna add our Brie cheese. All I did is kind of broke this up. Brie's a little soft. We're just gonna kind of break it up a little bit. It's a stronger cheese, so it shouldn't take too much of it. It's gonna add a good, strong flavor. Last but not least, we got our apple and onion jam. Put it right on the top, just like that. Some of this runs off the side, that'll be fine. This will start melting that Brie cheese. This already smells like fall time here. And we'll start getting our tops right back on top of these little biscuits. And then one more light brush with the butter. I know this looks like a lot of work just for a biscuit. Man, I can already smell and tell this is gonna be worth it. And then we're gonna get them back on the pellet grill, about 5 or 10 minutes, let that Brie melt, and then we're ready to dive into these biscuits. We got our pork tenderloin biscuits off the pellet grill and let them cool off for about 10 minutes. Just as a quick recap, we start off with 2 whole pork tenderloins. First thing we had to do was get that apple jam made and get it on that pit, because it takes the longest to cook. Then we got our pork tenderloins ready. Once they come off, we got our biscuits in this cast iron skillet. At the end, everything come together, and this is a great way to put your own twist on a great tasting biscuit. So now's the time I've been waiting for. Dive into this biscuit, see how all these flavors work. I mean, that is an awesome looking biscuit right there. Packed full of moisture, ton of good toppings. Of course, it's dripping. Let's see what it's all about. All I can say is, I'm gonna have to make some more of these just to take to the deer stand this winter, because that is excellent. That's one of the top biscuits I've ever ate. It's got a really good sweet flavor. That pork is just super tender. Everything goes together. That Brie cheese brings a good savory note, and you got a little bit of sweet, and that cayenne pepper and that onion jam really brings the heat. That is a heck of a biscuit. That's a wrap for us today at Swine Life. Now I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I'm a huge breakfast fan, especially in the fall, and this is going on the menu. Y'all have to give this biscuit recipe a try. If y'all got any questions, shoot us a message on Facebook or Instagram. And as always, like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see y'all next time.